So on our client, we have just the very beginning of what you get when you do start React or create React app. So typically, one of the first things you're going to do on a front end project is add a component library. So in class, we did React Bootstrap. This is like no longer really the most popular component library. And there's a few other more popular ones. There's one called Material UI. So you've probably heard of Material Design. It's like Google's design system. It's like all their like the Android OS and their websites and everything follow it. It's like very noticeable once you realize it's a thing. And so there's this component library called so it's Material UI, but it's like a React component library. So if you go to the docs here, you can then find like an overview and guide and everything, and then there's components, and there's just like a ton of pre-built stuff for you. So like if you need an app bar, which is the like top thing, just like already built for you. And if you need like a dialogue thing, like already built for you. So it's just like, so this one is much more popular. And when things are more popular, more people work on it. And like the more stuff you just get out of the box. So this is a really good one. And then there's one called Ant-D or Ant Design. This one's really good. And it doesn't look like Material. It's like got its own look. So if you wanted to like for some reason not have it look like Material, this is a good option. You can see they're gonna have the same stuff. So if we look for like here, I don't see an app bar on this one, but you can see here's popover. Like, well, actually, this one's kind of different. This is more like a tooltip. So every component, well, this looks like a tooltip. Every component library is kind of different. You have to kind of learn kind of what's available in it and how they structure everything. But this is another popular one. And then there's another one called Chakra UI that's getting pretty popular. Then again, just same stuff. Like, so anyway, I propose that we use Material UI. So this is something you guys would need to, you're going to need to kind of read the docs here and get kind of familiar with it to be able to use it. But typically, if you decide you want to use one, then you just follow the docs to get started with it. So usually there's like an overview of it. And then there's like installation instructions on how to add it. That you need to follow, and then they'll show you kind of how to start using it. So like if you want to use your button, you just import the button and then use the button. then you have the button. And then they have like templates and other stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and just add this. So go to installation and we just copy this command here. So this installs movie material, emotion, which is like a styling library. And then I'm not sure what this third thing is, but usually you don't care too much. You just do what they tell you. So we'll go to here. So I go to the client, run that command. And then this is if you wanted to use styled components instead of emotion. We're not going to worry too much about that. I'm just going to go with the first thing they did. Then we need to add the font that they use. So I'll do that. I don't know what this is. Put it to your entry point.
Is that the different weight of fonts?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, different, yeah, font weights, but I'm not sure where to import this. I'm guessing this is maybe like the app.css or the index.css. Or maybe the app.js. I think it's probably app.js. See if it's working. Yeah. So that's my guess. You might have to have done some research.
It works, it works.
We'll see. And then if we want icons, which are nice, like you'll notice, like if you want, like in your buttons, if you want like add user, there's like a little user icon. They've got like all that stuff available for you. So we'll install that too. Okay, I think that was everything. So we'll find out if it's working. By adding an app bar first, probably. So let's go to app bar. And there's like little code things here to click on to see the actual code. Okay, I'm just gonna copy what they have here. All right. So we will do some organization here. mad at me that those are not imported. Okay, so I'll explain this in a second. Okay. This. Don't need this. Audio. Okay. I don't know why this isn't complaining. Like it should be telling me. But that's not valid. Corrupt.
You ever see that before?
No.
Let's say I've messed up a lot in here before and I haven't seen that.
I don't know why it's not telling me that there's an error. I find that really odd. We're gonna have to figure that out.
What would it throw an error for?
Well, like I have this header component
Mhm.
and I'm using docs and app bar and toolbar and icon button, and like none of those things are imported. And then in app.jsx, I'm using header, but header's not imported yet
Mhm.
either. So you can see like that's the error I'm getting on the command line currently, is that header is not defined. So that's one of the first things I would do, is import header from slash features slash header slash header. So now it should start complaining about all that other stuff. Yeah. But like normally you would get that in VS Code and then you could like tell it to import things for you. But it's not doing that.
VS Code isn't telling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's bizarre.
So do you have to like manually import it now?
Yeah. So yeah, I don't really know what's going on. So app bar, box, toolbar, bar key, button, icon, button, menu icon. So what the fuck is going on? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I just restarted, I fixed it. It's really weird. Okay, so yeah, you can see we have this showing up around now. So this doesn't do anything. This doesn't do anything. It kind of looks like there's a space right here.
Yeah.
So I want to find out what's doing that. Yeah, the body has margin for some reason. So we'll go to index.css and do body margin 0. There we go. Okay. So cool. Okay. We don't need much here at the moment. I think we will have like a login, log out, and really that's probably about it. So let's go to the header and we'll just get rid of. Get rid of this. Change this to say Atlas. And we'll leave the login button thing for now. It's just not going to do anything. Okay. So eventually we'll have clicking on this like take you home. Clicking on that will make you log in. Now the other thing we can do if we want is we can set up a set up a theme. And with that, you just define what colors you want to use. And then there's in MUI, there's like certain things like for a tooltip, for example, you can say like info or warning or success or danger. And like those colors will come from the theme. And so then it's like really easy to change your colors later on because like everything in the app that is referencing something that is set once in the theme. So we can do that if we want. I don't want them to use red, so let's just go with the default colors for now. But you can also set like dark mode and typography stuff, things like that. And so all that stuff is here for how to do that. Okay, so let's go back. Okay. Okay, so one of the first things I think we want to do, we're gonna have to add login at some point. It won't be that'll be something we do later. So just imagine that like you are logged in and you're a particular user. The first thing you would want to see is probably the different modules listed out. So we can make like a list view with cards or something like that. And ultimately we want, which cards to show that come from the backend. So let's take a look at some of the components. Go to their card. So here's their built-in card. And yeah, remember this was sort of like the one that we wanted. So let's take a look at this. So cool. So we'll copy this whole thing. And then we'll make, so typically the way I try to organize stuff, not everybody does this, is like you'll have some folder, I usually call it features, it can be called whatever, that's like where all the stuff you're going to be building goes. And then you sort of organize it in subfolders based off like what it is, like in terms of the like domain specific what it is. So it's like if we're going to have the like the card is like a module card, so we'll call it like a module card, and then this page is like listing the modules available. So we may call the folder like module list or like module page or something like that. So I'll go into features and I'll add a new folder, and I'll just call it modules for now. So yeah, we've got the header and then And so it's just, you're trying to organize it in the way that you would like think about it in terms of just like if you were gonna talk about the project. But like this is very loosey goosey, like you just kind of make it up and, there's not like a necessarily like a principle that I'm following that's like easy to define. So I'm gonna put in there probably, so we have a module card .jsx, and then we'll also have module list .jsx. And then what I'm doing is I'm gonna have one thing that is gonna like query for all the modules and then like loop and list all of them. And then within that loop, we'll reference one module card that will actually be the individual card itself. So we'll make the card and we'll make the thing that does the listing. But what I copied was the card. So we'll start with that one. So module card. And oh shit. So I want to. So I copied and pasted what they had, but then just renamed it. And notice you'll see people do two styles: export default, or what I'm doing is just export function. So the difference is if you choose this style or the default style, the only difference is when you need to reference it is a different import style. So this is a default import, import thing from thing. Whereas like with the header, you notice I didn't do default export. So when I imported it on app.jsx, you can see I'm doing this style of import, which is the named import. You'll see both. There's not like a super compelling reason to go with one or the other, but I personally prefer the named style. So, okay, module card. So, yeah, we'll have the card. This max width of 345. I don't know, why they picked that or like what we would want to pick, but let's leave it for now. This would say something like. Well, we don't. Well, I guess I just want to get like a sample. So we'd say like.
As I say, I've got the deck pulled up if you sort of want to listen to theirs.
Private. Okay, so we have the module card. I don't know if. Yeah, they just found this image. Yeah, okay, cool. So we'll just copy this image address. No, that's not that. Okay. Okay, so we've got just like a sample card. We've like hard coded these values. Eventually these would be props. like the image link and the title and the description, and then the URL you want to go to when you click the button. It would be stuff that we'd pass in. But it's hard coded for now. And then in our module list, we need to decide, okay, like we need to like lay these cards out. So we need some sort of like grid kind of thing. And guess what? They have that. So we'll go and look for that. They should have, they have some sections that'll start to make sense. They have data display. And I think we want like list maybe. No, let's just look right. Should be like,
I think it's under layout. They have a grid on there.
yeah, okay. Apparently they have a grid B2.
They redid the grid as well.
Um, this is the grid thing here is like kind of like the bootstrap grid stuff that we learned, you know? Um, I actually was thinking of something slightly different, but I'm not. Okay, I do think it's probably grid then what we're gonna need to use. Oh, yeah, where's the data grid component? Mm, this is like there's like another thing called MovieX, which is like they have like additional components in here and like they'll like charge for them in certain cases. Uh, okay. Data grid. Okay, yeah, I don't think this is what we want either. Okay, yeah, so we'll just go back to. Okay. Uh, all right, so. So what we'll do is we'll do like, so let me, actually, yeah, let's go ahead and, so I'm gonna like hard code some data here. So we'll say, sample data. Cool. So I have an array, and then we'll have objects. And so this will be like what we pass into the card. So we'll have like image URL, and I'll go ahead and just do this stuff. So image URL. So image URL, and then we would have title, description. And then eventually we'd have the like module URL, which is like where you would go to get the actual like all the embedded stuff that we're talking about for that module. That'll be empty for now. Okay, and then we'll just make just a few of these, just the same content. So sample data, and then we need to change this. So we need to accept that data. So you can do this props thing where you like take this object and like immediately pull the properties out of it rather than doing props.image URL, props.title. You can just like pull it out at the top level. So we'll pull out image URL, title, and description here. And so yeah, image here would be image URL. This would be title, and then I think we have description right here. Okay. So that's what will get passed in now. And then we need to do so we need to do that thing where we loop through the sample data to generate multiple elements. So we do that map thing. So we do sample data dot map data, and I can probably close this. So like for each object within our sample data, so we have the array, which will be all the modules. For each module, we need to make a module card. So we've got the data for that module. And so we say, okay, I need to make, well, for sure we know we need to make a module card. So why isn't this auto importing for me? It's driving me crazy. I'm going to move this sample data to the bottom. So yeah, we need a module card. It's not auto importing that. And we have to pass in our props. So we have image URL will be d.image URL. Title will be d.title, and description will be d.description. Okay. Eventually, we'll also pass in the module URL. So we have a module card now, but so we have this grid, but then we need to make each of these grid items for each module card. So we'll actually stick the grid item up here as well. And stick the module card inside that. And then we just need to say like, how much space should it take up? So when it's an extra small screen, it should probably take up the full width, which I think is 12, just like in Bootstrap. And then if it's like a medium screen, we would take up maybe, hey, we would take up maybe third.
Yeah, that's 4, yeah.
And then if it's like a large, I don't know if I'm even typing the right things there, we would maybe take up worth. So I think that's what you do. Yeah. Um, so this is like, I have like making a component here, but then I like wrote a function inside the component that is returning JSX. I could have also made like another component, but this is sort of like a component inside a component. And it's kind of useful sometimes to do this. So we then just need to call this function in our JSX in here. So like we have the wrapping grid, and then we're going to have all the children grids in here, which all come from this function here. So we just call that function inside JSX, which looks kind of weird. So like this is how you, when you're writing like a component inside a component, you don't call it the way that you do like an actual component. You call the function inside JSX basically. So yeah, let's see what this looks like. It looks like nothing. See ya. Oh, that's because I actually didn't import module list anywhere. So we need to end this somewhere. So we've got our header. And then, yeah, I mean, basically just right below the header, we want to have module list, probably. Ooh,
There you go.
it worked. I don't know why it just decided to start working, but it did. Okay, all right, so we have, okay, grid's not defined. So we'll go to module list. This isn't defined, and it should import it for me, but it won't. So grid is, I think, import. I have to look it up. Usually don't have any examples.
It's under grid, the V2.
Well, I was just gonna do one, but I guess we should do.
Well, it's weird because it has the import on there for grid 1 and grid 2, but it doesn't have it under just normal grid.
Yeah, I'm gonna do V1 for now. The fact that it has unstable in it.
That's promising. That makes me feel really good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this app bar is static. If you remember when we did it, position static. So it this stuff is going underneath it because it's not like pushing it down, which I think means so if we have a ton more of these cards, I don't know, it didn't stay at the top. I think that might be position fixed. So we can decide if we want the app bar to stay at the top. So if we go back to app bar. Yeah, you can do fixed. And yeah, so you just change that. Yeah. I don't know what this box is for. I'm gonna get rid of the box. Okay. So yeah, now it's stuck at the top. But notice our cards are still cut off at the top there. So we just need to add some margin. And we also need to decide if we actually want the app bar to stay there or not. But yeah, let's look and see what makes sense here. So we can do. We basically just need to say maybe on this app.jx for this module list, or really for anything. Really for the whole app, we probably want it to start lower. So we would.
Couldn't you just do it from the bottom, like the app bar, like a bottom margin?
Yeah, so we get in the header, we could say. You typically, so there's just in material UI, they want you to use this SX property instead of style, inline style. It's in the guide, because then you can reference theme stuff. But yeah, you're just writing CSS inline here, and so we do margin bottom, and then do, I think it's 64 pixels. Well, it's fixed, so we may not. Let's see. Yeah, the margin's there, but it's not. Because it's not a block out. I don't know if we can do margin. me see what happens if we change this back to. You know what, I think that having that box is backing it up. Yeah. So we may still want some margin though. But not that much.
Yeah.
So maybe just like 10. Yeah. And honestly, we probably want some padding for our list, but potentially for like the whole site, but let's just start with the list. So yeah, we might say, let me see if there's anything in the grid. So I'm gonna add some padding. Okay, so that's a bit better. And then notice as we shrink, ooh, that's no good. We'll want to fix that. Also want that to be sort of aligned in the middle somehow. Yeah, so I think extra small. They consider that extra small? Oh, I guess it's because we don't have a small, so it's just jumping to small. So 6. Yeah. It's pretty good. Okay, so let's not worry. I want it to be aligned after the final, but I don't want to deal with that right now. It might, I mean, it could just be text align. I guess we could try real quick. Or maybe there's something in the docs on that.
Or what about like justified content or whatever? Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, one of those. I can never remember which one is right. You can try both. Let's see, where would that go? In the grid. That might be on the. Yeah, see, we need it within the cell itself because, yeah, so this is kind of tricky, but what's happening is this is max 375 or whatever we did. We may actually want to turn that off. And just see what that looks like. Because I think now, yeah, it'll just take out the full width, which is probably what we want. Yeah. Now, I don't know if we needed the justify content or not at this point then. But I feel like that might be the default. Yeah. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. The image thing looks nice, like it automatically kind of fit the image appropriately. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, from here we could say, okay, we can set up some of the backend stuff to like retrieve the modules. And then, so we have that piece, and then we also need to do like the user-based saving where you left off and all that. So that's one path we need to take. And then the other is like actually clicking on this, going to another page, and then doing the embed stuff. So I think we should focus on, because like doing the backend stuff like isn't really needed for showing them the prototype, you know? So we should really kind of focus on what we need to start getting feedback from them. So I think we should do the page thing. And so we need to pull in what to do multiple pages in the app based off the URL. So library that we learned about. That's for the back end. So on the front end, when we want to do like multiple pages based off the URL, there was a library we used. It's a very obvious name once you say it. So yeah, React Router.
Oh,
So yeah, React Router is what lets us updated it. Is what lets us based off the URL, we show certain things. So we will what the fuck? What is this? They really dragged out this intro. This was really bad. Okay. What we need though is React Router DOM. That's all we need. I don't know what they did. I don't know what local for and mash sorter and sort by is for. So I'm just not gonna install it, and then if we get errors, then we'll see. So back to the clients, npm install React Router DOM. And yeah, I think that's. Yeah, okay. So we'll import this. And this will go in our app JSX. So I put that there. And then we create this router thing. And so, and then we need this. So the header should always be there. So we're not going to actually put it in the router. The router is going to go underneath the header. So we put that there. And then so basically on the root page, which is what we're on now, we do want the module list. So we'll move module list to be the root element here. So you can see they've got path is just slash, which is the root route. And then the element for that is module list. I think that's how they want. Yeah. Okay, so we should have exactly the same app at this point when we go back to it. Yeah, so we get the same thing. But if we go to like slash test, oh, that's cool. You can see React Router has like a built-in like error handler already. So there's nothing that matches that route. Now we should be able to have a default route.
How come you didn't have to import the DOM, the React DOM?
I did like this thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I did. I was just going kind of fast. Is that what you're talking about?
well, like in the example thing, there was like one that you like left off that was like specifically like import React
Oh,
DOM.
because that's happening on the index here.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so I imported it in a different spot than they did on their tutorial. Yeah. But yeah, so this index.js has where it's like adding React to the page. Like so it like gets this like root element and then it like renders everything underneath that root element. And so the first thing it renders is our app. And so like we need to import React Router DOM at like pretty high up in the structure of our app, but I don't need to do it here. I can, a lot of times people just leave this file alone and only modify this file because it's the start of the so I want to, yeah, see, look, and then I talk about, hey, cool, look at that. So we can have our own error page if we want to. Or we can. We're just not worry about it for now. Or we can, there should be like a default that you could just like fall back to. So this would be in our create browser router. See, this is an older version now. So. All right, we'll worry about that later. This should be possible though. But so we have this route path and then, we want a detail page, basically. So I have list page and then you would click on a module, you get the detail page. That's the main two routes that we would have. So we'll make another entry here. And that would be something like slash module slash, and then let me look up how to do. It's a really big tutorial. So then we'll have, so the syntax is this contact or sorry, just colon and then the ID. So we would have module and then slash module ID. So that would be like the ID in the database for the module. And then we would show, so we don't have anything for that quite yet. So we need to make a new thing, and this would, instead of modules, this might be like module slightly, or module detail is probably better. And usually people do folder names like that. So module detail, and then we'll make a module detail page. I don't know. Yeah. So export detail page. So one thing we can get, since we'll be sending them to this page from React Router, we can get that ID usually from a hook. Let's see. Hooks. Yeah, okay. So they provide these hooks for us. And oh, that's cool. They still have, man, they always make huge changes to this library, and just learn something new again. But we should be able to get that param. I think so. We'll try that. So we just need these params. This is we're going to link to this module detail page from or like when we do it, we're going to have an ID in the path. And so like, since we did this colon thing here, React Router should pull that, whatever value is in that slot for us and pass it to us. And the way we get that, so this will be, let me go back to my data page. So this would be use params, and then you would say const params equal use params, or something like that. Oh no, you can actually pull the user ID out. So we'll do const user ID, or not user ID, but module ID. So I'm just going to display what that ID is, see if it's working. So then we'll render this module detail page on this path here. So module detail page, import worked again. Okay, so that test route doesn't exist. This one does, but then if we go to slash module slash whatever. Yeah, that works. So you can see it's pulling whatever I type here. So this would be like an ID from the database. So it'll look like that. It'll be a bunch of gibberish, but we're going to have access to that. And then what we do is whenever we load the page, we get that ID and then we say, okay, go talk to the database and get the module with that ID. So then we can show them what we need to. And then, yeah, we want this button to go back to root, which we can set that up. But for now, we just manually do it. Okay. How are you guys following along? Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
I understand some of these words.
Sweet. So I think about what we should do next. So let's say let's change this to instead of module URL, it'll be module ID. That's gonna be some sort of gibberish thing.
And that's what we're going to get from something like Squarespace or whatever we choose. Or no.
It'll be. Sorry. So we'll have in the database, we'll have like a modules collection. And that'll have some of this data, but this is like the very like limited detail of it. So the title, card image, description. And then it will also have, we have kind of done this in
I guess will the
jam.
embedding stuff mostly live on the back end,
The what stuff?
like the embedding stuff, so like the game or like Squared Space. Will most of that be on the back end and just be called on the front end?
It'll be, 1 second. No, I didn't. What did you do? That's not what. Don't. Okay, so we'll have, like, so here's the modules collection we kind of talked about last time. So you can see we have some of the, like, so ID is what I'm referring to as the module ID in the front end so far. But we had name, which we called title, and then description, and then we had image URL. What we don't have is the module number, which is like the order we wanted to show it on the page, and then the module sections, which the module section, originally the concept is like, okay, we'll have multiple pages they need to get through for a module. And that's what each section is. And then each section would have what content should be embedded, like the URL of it, and then the type. Is it a curriculum or is it a game? So we'd have like, whenever you go to a module, we'd say, okay, we'll show the first page, or like we said, maybe we'll have like a overview page or something like that, but that would still be with the embed. So the actual Squarespace URL or the game URL, that will be in the database, but the front end would say, okay, iframe that URL at this moment. And so like the back end's more of just like a catalog, and the front end is actually like displaying the embed. So what I'm sort of doing here is saying, okay, module ID would be this ID here. And whenever we click on one of these, so if we go to our module card, we also need to receive the module ID from it. And so whenever we make these, we need to pass that. Module ID. And so then the card, this button, whenever you click it, needs to route to the proper page. And so React Router should have a way to do that. Might be use navigate. It's usually better to use redirecting loaders and actions than this hub. I think we want to navigate. Okay. So this is how we can change the page. So we import that. It's a hook. So we want that in our module card. And then we need to instantiate the hook. Like you kind of have to do everything. So now what we want is, okay, here's the button. When they click that, we want to navigate to slash module slash the module. And I put navigate. Okay. And just so we can make sure it's working, I will, in our fake data, I'll do so now we click this, it should take us, yeah. So say module 1, go back, module 2. Now the reason it's set up like this is usually you'll have like, it's a very common pattern where you'll have like a list of data, which is like some content. But usually when you're trying to show like hundreds of things on a list, you don't want to actually query for all of the data. You want to like query for the minimum amount needed to make the page really fast. And then when someone clicks on it, you then go and fetch the additional details. So the reason that it's set up like this is purely, like we could ask for all the information and then whenever you go to the detail page, like we already have that loaded. But this is just, you'll see this practice a lot. So basically we're just saying like, okay, whenever we go to a detail page, we need to know the ID of the thing we need to go query more data for. So that's the pattern that I'm setting up here. And then when you use the URL, it's nice because then like, you know, like this URL means something. I can like send a Slack message with that URL and it'll load this page for them. And then I also can use the browser history to like go back to this page. So there's like a lot of benefits to setting up your page to use URLs like that. Okay, so at this point, what we want to do is when we go to a detail page, we want to figure out how to do the embed and like the navigate within this page. So that's kind of the next thing we need to do. But you said you need to leave at noon, right? Okay. I actually kind of need to go around then too, because I've got this Techlahoma workshop. So why don't